Hello, and welcome back to Community Chats podcast, where we bring you stories and insights from the heart of community living Toronto. Whether you're a longtime listener or just joining us, we're thrilled to kick off our third season with even more powerful conversations, heartfelt journeys, and voices that inspire change. In this episode, we're honored to welcome Valerie Boyle, a parent, actor, and recent participant on Canada's Got Talent. At 76 years young, Valerie captures hearts across the country with her moving audition dedicated to her son Richie, a member of the community living family. Her performance of Send in the Clowns earned unanimous praise from the judges and reminded us all of the power of love, resilience, and artistic expression. Valerie's journey is one of creativity, advocacy, and deep connection. And today she joins us to share her story as a mother and a performer and as a community member. From the stage to the living room, Valerie brings warmth, wisdom, and a touch of theatrical magic to everything that she does. As we dive into season 3, we continue to explore the diverse experiences of families, advocates, and change makers across the city. So grab a coffee, settle in, and let's chat, because belonging starts with listening. Val, how are you doing? Good to see you.
I'm great, Brad. How are you?
I'm doing good as well. It's as we record this, it's a rainy day. The skies opened up. Unbelievable, eh?
But we have sunshine in this podcast.
That's a great way to start. I'm really glad you took the time to chat with us today. You've got a fascinating story that we're excited for you to share, and you've got an interesting career and vocation that a lot of people are interested in. So I'm going to dive right in. You are which many people in this field aspire to. You are a working actor.
I'm a working actor at 76 years old, going on 77, still working. Thank you very much. And before I start, though, Brad, I just want to say thank you for inviting me to do this. And you must be very tired because you just got back from...
I was in Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates for Inclusion International's conference. Great time. Learned a lot from a lot of people and came away feeling really invigorated. And the jet lag, not bad. But if I do, I'll try not to doze off. And if I do, it's all the jet lag. It's not the conversation. So let's just jump right in. Maybe we'll start with your career. You've got a career that most people find very interesting, right? And a lot of people aspire to be actors, but very few of us can achieve that. What inspired you, and how did you get into it?
I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, Mom, I want to be a lawyer. Mom, I want to be a doctor. Mom, I want to be... And then I thought, well, I could be an actress and be everything. And I was doing shows in my front garden. And my dad built me like a frame. And I hung a blanket over there. And I would do shows in my front garden when I was 5 or 6 years old.
Very cool. Where did you grow up?
Southampton, England.
Okay.
So, and I lived in London so I can speak very, very English like that, you know.
Yeah.
So I get English roles as well. But I do stage. I do. You do everything. You do voice. I do voiceovers. I'm the voice of Mrs. Bear on Rupert the Bear. I've done, Franklin. I've done lots of voiceovers. I just did voiceover they did an audio book for Winona Earp, and I did a voiceover in that. And so I've been very, very blessed and lucky as far as acting. I'm not, like, a lot of people don't know who I am. So here I am. I'm not a household name unless I change my name to Tide. Then I could be a household name. But I love acting. I do stage. I do film. I've just finished a shoot on a new Christmas movie that comes out. I do a lot of Christmas movies. A new Christmas movie that comes out next year with So I've been very, very lucky.
I think a lot of people know this at this point, but Toronto has been a center of film production for many years, and it's as busy now as it's ever been.
Ever been.
So there's a lot of opportunity for that.
lots of series, lots of movies. It's great. And of course, I've done stage, and you have come to see
I
me
did
in
see one of your
several.
performances.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love it. Love
Now
it.
that you were carrying a Brooklyn accent at that production.
Yes. Yes. Over the river and into the woods. And I played an Italian mother. Yeah. Hi.
Excellent. From
Yeah.
was it
So
Brooklyn, right? That's what.
my
Yeah, that
grandmother.
was a lot of
Yeah.
fun. That was a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
you mentioned, so you start off performances in your front garden with your father building the frame in that,
Right.
and then you were in England. So at some point you
Went to
emigrated to
drama.
Canada, or you
I
sorry, tell
did.
pick up the story from there. Yeah.
So I emigrated to Canada. We emigrated when I was 16, and I applied to RADA and I was there for a week. I got in, and my
What is that,
parents,
Rada?
Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Okay.
So I did get in. You have to pay substantial. My family helped me, but I did a very bad thing. Went to England, got a job singing in a show band within the first week I was there. And I thought, well, I need a job in order to support me because, in order to live in London, England. And this was 1967.
Okay.
And so I got a job in a show band. And then I was too tired because I get home I couldn't get up for school.
Right.
So I never went. I went for about, and it was the biggest shame in my family's life. It was like, well, you obviously can't see things through. But anyway, I kept
You
plugging
bounced
away.
back. Yeah.
Here I am, still working. Yeah, and I love it. I love the business of acting, and my last few years on this earth, I've determined because my a love that is more important to me than my passion or my purpose is
Right.
my purpose for my son
Yeah.
Richie.
Yeah.
I love him.
So tell us about Richie.
Richie, Richie had an accident he's my only son, and when he was born, he had an accident. He did not have a very good birth.
Hmm.
And so they had to remove a quarter of his brain. It
Hmm.
was the first time in history that they had ever removed. So he's down in medical history. They removed
Wow.
one quarter of his brain and said he will not live.
Right.
So I went to Sick Kids Hospital after. So he was a day
So
old, and
he was born in Toronto.
he was born in Newmarket, but he
Okay.
moved to Sick Kids Hospital. And they had him in one incubator, and in the next little incubator with another little guy, Rowan.
Yeah.
And so I looked at the name tags and I said, Rowan, meet Richie, Richie, meet Rowan. And they live together today, nearly 50 years later, in community living in a group home. And
Right.
they are uh, soul brothers in the truest sense of the word.
Yes, I've seen them together. They
Oh
are a
my
pair.
God.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like a married couple. It's very funny. Now, I
Yeah.
did
So
have Rich. Yes, go
yeah, go
ahead.
ahead. So just we're jumping ahead of it. So he was born. He had to have the surgery, and he was at Sick Kids. Now,
And
you
he,
as a mother, you have expectations and hopes when you have a baby,
oh,
and this was different, I'm sure, than you were expecting. How did you manage that? What tell us about that?
I don't think I managed it very well, Brad, to be honest. For the first 5 years, I felt sorry for myself,
Right.
because when you are pregnant, you think, oh, what's their first, when are they crawling? What is it going to be like the first day of school? I think it's just natural that you do think about what your children are going to be
Mm-hmm.
like in the
Mm-hmm.
future. And instead of bringing my husband and I closer together, sometimes a trauma can bring you closer together. Sometimes it can bring you apart. And we
Right.
couldn't cry with one another. We cried apart. And
Right.
that separated us. And so for the first 5 years, I had difficulty. But I kept him at home. He was such a good kid, such a lovely. He was like an angel. He is still like an angel. And and I think we have I have one of the greatest bonds. I don't think I can love a boy any more today than will tomorrow,
Yeah.
and then tomorrow makes me a liar
Yeah.
because I adore him. And when he looks at me, I just melt.
Yeah.
And
I've
he
seen that look.
smiles.
It's noticeable.
Yeah,
So, at Sick Kids, he was in Sick Kids for probably a period of time, an extended
oh,
period of time,
an
and then
extent.
he came home. And how did you?
He
What was that
came.
like?
He came home on his first birthday.
Okay, so he was in the hospital
And
for a year.
yeah, near. Well, yes, and then he was in the hospital, but then he went to Jan Lin for a period of time.
Okay.
A Jan Lin recovery, so
Hmm.
rehabilitation. So when it was he and Rowan were transferred to Jan Lin up in Keswick. It's not there, an
Right.
institution basically,
Okay.
and because they wanted to make sure he's, you know,
Right.
and then he came home. It was his first birthday, and it was glorious, and he was home, and but he would go to rehab. There would be It was like an open door, people coming in the house and taking him to certain therapies, and so we saw many years of that. And then he had to go back into um, care. They said, Valerie, you are not going to be able to look after him as
Right.
you age.
So
And
maybe
they had
describe because describe so Richie's in a wheelchair now, and has he always been in a wheelchair
always been in a
and
wheelchair.
required a significant amount of support with his
He
daily
cannot,
activities? And
right, he cannot sit. He cannot sit up. He is. They thought he would. The doctors told me, they said, Valerie, your son, if he doesn't die in the first year, he will die by the time he's 2 or 3.
wow,
And one doctor said he's going to be a vegetable. Which I hated that term.
great language, eh? Wow.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
yeah.
And
Jeez.
the time when Richie was born, um, you there were no there were no handicap access to something to most buildings in Toronto.
What year was he born? Just place that for us.
1976.
Okay.
Yeah,
So in
1976.
Ontario context, there still would have been a lot of institutions operating around the
Yeah.
province. There would have been some community living type organizations. We
It
were
was
around.
just, yes,
We were
you
around
were
that, but
around.
the movement just would have been starting. And in
That's
terms of education and school and that, what was your experience there?
Well, it was a fight to get him into an integrated school. So
Right.
I was one of the people fighting for that.
Right.
And I was also one of the people fighting more in the background. But one of my care workers, a lovely, lovely woman, was in the forefront of fighting for um, getting getting them out of closing the institutions
Right.
and bringing people into society,
Right.
belonging, feel the belonging in society. So, and she fought for that, and I was sort of in the background, trying to help that, and didn't realize even myself how important that was, because
Yeah.
that also became the fight for a simple mall. We used to go to the mall, and it was hard. I'd have to have someone help me lift up his chair up the stairs,
Right.
and people, they would see me pushing Richie, and mothers would have their children and pull their children away, like Richie with cerebral
Oh
palsy
wow.
had a disease. It was because seeing people in wheelchairs at that time was foreign to them,
Yeah.
strange to them.
So
And yeah,
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, please ask me a question.
So so this would have been in the late 70s, early 80s when
That's
you would have
right.
been happening. So you've really seen an evolution, both in the
Huge,
services and supports that are available for Richie,
huge.
but also in terms of people's attitude and acceptance.
Yes.
What have you, what stood out with you? Are there moments in time that stand out as being, well, this is different, something's changed?
Yes, when I would take Richie with me when I got a job in Calgary. Whenever I got a job in theaters were very, very understanding. And I would have Richie looked at and then bring him out with me. He traveled to
Right.
Vancouver, he traveled to Calgary,
Oh, I
Regina,
didn't know that. Great.
LA, Montreal, everywhere, Florida. He would travel with me. And I would have him set up that when I was on stage, I would hire workers that they
Okay.
could look after him. But our trip to Calgary, it was in the early 80s. And I thought about moving us to Calgary just because Calgary had been the first city to make everything handicap access.
Okay.
You could get wheelchairs on the subways, wheelchairs on the buses. You'd go to a mall. There were, it was new. It was like a magical city. It was like, oh, I can press this button and the doors go open,
Right.
like automatic handicap door. It was an amazing thing. And then it transferred quite soon. You stole subway stations started to go okay. And people, buildings were building ramps to give
Right.
handicap access. So it was, and I think the movement to deinstitutionalize and bring people in, bring the challenged physically, or I think you used a word one time. What is the word you used? I want to remember that. That you learned in where you were in Dubai, where in
Oh,
the Emirates.
yeah.
What?
Some of the Emirates speak about people of determination as a label that they use for people with
I
an
love
intellectual
that.
disability or with some other
Because it's
disability.
courage. You don't realize how much courage
Yeah,
my son and people, they're so determined and so and that's a better word for them. I love that word.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't like that word because it's not a disadvantage. It is they are anyway. Yes, they are challenged, but they are determined and courageous, and I've seen
and
that.
everybody can
Richie.
contribute
Right,
somehow, some way in their own way, right?
right.
And
But
you've been a big part of making sure that Richie is in his community and is contributing. And so you decided not to move to Calgary.
I decided not because I saw
I'm glad for that. We're glad for that. Although
the
Calgary's
doors
a lovely city.
started opening,
I think Toronto started to catch up.
and Toronto
Yeah,
started to catch up, and the institutions were closing down,
yeah.
and Richie got a sense of belonging. And then, of course, I had to. Then I met. It was community living,
Hmm.
gave the chance, the opportunity, and they put Richie and Rowan together as roommates when they were starting to go into their teens.
Right.
Richie had a difficult time in his teens,
Did
like
he?
when he was coming into his teens. He was going through puberty.
Yeah.
Puberty was difficult for both he and Rowan, but
Hmm.
I know from Richie it was very difficult,
Right.
and so I would have several doctors' meetings with them. But anyway, um, he went through it, and so
That was a challenging time going through puberty, and
that
there's lots of
yes.
changes going on. And at some point, Richie moved out of your home.
Right, and he moved into well, I guess I can say it was up. It was a place called Wheelwright. A
Okay.
community living bought a
Yeah.
group home,
It was a
and
time of growth in the early mid 80s,
right,
and community living and other organizations were at the time buying homes where a number of people would live in,
right.
group homes. And Richie was in one of those spaces as a child.
as a child, and he shared his bedroom with Rowan,
Yeah.
and they became, I guess, meeting on the first day of Richie's birth
Yeah.
in the next living.
It's an amazing story, right? That they
Yeah,
met in a
um,
nursery at Sick Kids in
at
the
6 years.
70s, and
Yeah,
fast forward almost 50 years, and they're
and they're
roommates
still
now.
living together. Yeah,
Yeah. So
and
now, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, please go ahead.
So now Richie's living in an apartment with his roommate, and describe that situation for us.
Oh, it's a great group home apartment. He and Rowan share an apartment,
Right.
and so they have care workers. So they have 24-hour care.
Right.
They have a couple. They each have day programs.
Hmm.
Not as many day programs as I'd like.
Yeah.
This is something we will talk about.
Yeah.
But so not as many, but there are a number of group homes in this complex,
Yeah,
this
it's
apartment.
an apartment building. So he's in an apartment, and then there's other people in other apartments around the
I
building. Yeah.
think there were 7 or 8.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
it's and so they are his extended family, his
Right.
brothers and sisters.
Right.
And I mean, I was there yesterday,
Right.
and they were all outside on enjoying outside
Oh, yeah, it was a
time.
beautiful,
I'm
beautiful
just
day. It wasn't raining yesterday. It was
oh
beautiful. Yeah.
gorgeous.
Good.
Richie and I went to church, and I'll talk about that too.
Sure.
Remind me.
Yeah.
And then came home and had some more to eat,
Yeah.
and
So
sat outside with all of his brothers and
So
sisters.
what
Great.
does what does Richie do during the day? You talk that he's doing some things, but it's not enough, and you'd like
No, it's
more
not.
opportunities. What is he doing? And then what would you like to see him do more of?
Well, I would like to see more. I'm not the only mum.
Yeah,
I would like to help raise funds.
yeah,
I am an actress, so I have that platform. I am a
yeah.
singer. Well, I didn't think I was a singer. I've never really thought of myself as a singer. But anyway, as you know, I went on Canada's Got Talent.
Yeah. That's the big reveal. We'll talk about
Oh,
that in a
we'll
sec.
talk
It's not a
about
big
that
reveal.
later.
It's you're well known in that. But so with the day programs and the things that
And the
Richie's
thing,
doing during the day, what are the types of things he's doing now?
he goes to music
Yeah.
and he goes to art. So
Hmm.
he has 2 days a week, and we have to reapply every, I don't know how many weeks, I think it's 12 or 13, for a
Right.
new set of day programs.
Right.
But
And what would you like to see him do
pre-pandemic,
more of?
I would like him to go to I would like him to have a day program, um, every five
Every
days
day.
a week, every
Every
day,
day.
every day, because he used to pre-pandemic.
Right.
ev- the
And
programs were great, and then everything shut
yeah.
down.
And what type of things does Richie enjoy doing? What type of things would you like him to see him doing more of?
Well, he loved art. He used to love art, even
Okay.
picking up and drawing. I'm not sure.
Painting and drawing, that kind of art.
Painting.
Okay.
He used to love that, but he loves going in the wheel trans just to go
To get out and
somewhere,
about. Right.
to get out and about. And so he gets stimulation looking at or looking at something, even if we're passing
Right.
shopping. He loves going shopping. He loves music. Rowan loves music as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And so even going to somewhere different, even if it's a couple of hours,
Yeah.
and meeting other people, and either learning how to cook, having someone doing a recipe, having
Yeah.
him cook. All of there are so many things. He loved Shadow Lake, going
Oh,
all
was
of
he there?
those
He was there
coasts.
this summer?
I don't think he was able to get there this
This
summer.
summer? Okay, he's been in the past.
So he's every year, but he missed this summer. That's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there are other people. Having When you're in a wheelchair, and like Richie and Rowan, when you're then it's not easy to get, which is another thing we should talk about,
Yeah.
is the staffing.
Right.
That it's hard to get good staff.
Right.
You know,
Talk about your
yeah.
experiences there. What makes up a staff person that you've had interaction with throughout the last, decades? That what makes a good support staff?
I was there yesterday, and the staff and I were talking about that very thing. And I would not be a good care worker. I was
Right.
saying to them, I would not be a good care worker because it takes a certain love and determination and sacrifice. Because, I love to entertain, but to do nursing and to do that type of personal care worker,
Right.
it takes a dedication
Yeah.
and a special angelic nightingale spirit, and not everyone has it. They think they might,
Right. Right.
but the ones, for example, I was talking to that, they were so lovely,
Yeah.
and they've known Richie for years. Some of them, I was talking to Doreen. I said, Doreen, how long have you been? Well, it's like 25 years or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. We're
But you
fortunate to have a
see,
lot of staff that have been with us a long time because they love the work and bring that characteristic that you're talking about.
and not everyone can, and they have been there a long time. Like Richie's Marie has known Richie 30 years,
Wow.
and she's a night staff.
Right.
So all of these, they are his extended family.
Hmm.
And that is so important. Not everybody has that genome in them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there have been some staff that are not necessarily good.
Right.
But it's, having the money to pay them, like,
Right.
to me, I think they are angels.
Right.
They are. I think they're like teachers. They don't get value, that they don't get the value and appreciation that they should get.
Hmm.
Um, but
Well,
I
and you're describing in terms of angels and sort of lots of characteristics that are very humanistic, which is great. And I would look at it as you want people that are professional, that are
really
compassionate, that are dedicated, along with
exactly
the other things that everybody needs to bring to a job, right? You need to be on time,
yes,
you need to be, you know what your
yeah,
role is, and that. So it's that combination of piece with that. It sounds like an important part for you has been that human element of
the
somebody being able to connect with Richie, but also with
right.
yourself, so that you can
Mhm.
relate. Because we've had conversations where you worry about the future for Richie and what that's going to look like, and talk about your thoughts there.
Well, Brad, that that it's all. I mean, I spoke at the legislature about
Yeah.
that very thing, about the future. I worry. I'm 76, gonna be 77. What do I have? A decade left.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
At
devote
least.
that. Your lips to God's ears. But I have whatever time I have left. I would like to devote to like to making sure Richie's gonna be okay when I'm gone, and that that he's gonna want for nothing, because I am his biggest advocate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's got to be a fear that when you're not there,
uh,
that who's going to
here.
take your role, who's going to protect, who's going to represent, who's going to love.
That's
That's a lot.
exactly
That's a
it.
lot.
And yeah, I worry about that, and I know that, like, the personal care workers there with, and they go, don't worry, Mrs. Boyle, he'll be looked after and loved.
Yeah.
And I know some of them, but you see, like Doreen and El Digo
Right.
and
Right.
Yvonne, and they're all nearing retirement
Yeah.
age themselves and would like to, and they've known Richie for like 30 years or 25 or 30 years, but Um,
And I do think that's one of the challenges we have as a
right?
sector, as an organization. How do you give yourself, people like yourself, parents in your situation or siblings, the confidence that someone will be looked after? Are there, who are the other people in their lives that can step in and not take over your role, but at least, carry on your legacy or
Uh,
represent you in the future that Richie relates to, who aren't professional staff always. You always want a
that's
good
right.
relationship there, but people that are professionals that are in his life,
Uh,
that's critical, and we don't always do the best at achieving that.
well, and it's so because Richie will smile.
Yeah,
Those girls act like crazy women that they would act to their own children. They
right.
dance and they
Yeah,
joke
yeah.
and they laugh and they go, "Hey, Richie, Richie's in the house. Gordon, Gordon," and they laugh
Make
and
it
we
fun.
sing and make it fun.
Yeah,
And they will touch and they will hug,
yeah,
and the kids love it,
yeah.
love it. You see the joy when they and there are so it's hard in when you're giving service like this, a personal care worker or a teacher.
Right.
You I mean you go, okay, am I breaking the rule if I touch?
Yeah, yeah. No,
No,
yeah. You have to be careful.
so
So
it's a fine line. But
yeah.
anyway,
Well, I think you're
community
speak.
living
So,
means a lot to me. It is
thank.
my
Yeah.
Richie's extended family. So if I at some point I'm gonna, again, I'm always looking for ways to raise funds. And
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
let's talk about it, but just to wrap up this piece around the future and your worries, I think you're speaking for, and what you're experiencing is what a lot of parents go through and siblings go through around just general worry about the future in a way that other parents don't. And, I don't know that we as a system have done a great job at giving people enough assurance around what the future
right.
is, or making sure that you've got people around you that make you feel like we've got this when you
Safe,
no longer
secure.
can, or
Yeah.
in the 15 or 20 years when you're no longer around, that's going to happen. So that's helpful. I spend a lot of time thinking about that, right? How do you
Right.
make life better so that at someone at your point in life, you don't worry as much about the future, that you can just worry about or just live in the moment around, this is what I've, spend
And
more time there than in the worrying about what's to come.
may I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Because I'm lucky. I feel
Yep.
blessed, and I'm very grateful that I'm lucky because I do have the community
Yes.
living support system.
Right.
But how many mothers like me don't have
Yeah.
community, are on a waiting list?
So there's a lot of the waiting lists. I'll talk about Ontario a little bit, but then just I think broadly, there are a lot of people waiting, and a lot of
Yeah.
people unsure. So in Ontario, I think there's about 29, a little around 30,000 people that are waiting for places to live. And it doesn't mean that right now, if there were 30,000 opportunities for people to be supported in their community, that people would take that. But it's at some point people know they're going to need, my son or daughter or brother or sister is going to need some
And
support
they're
where they
aging.
live. They're aging, and they want something for the future. So I think there's a lot of people that's and again, when you're in your 20s and 30s and 40s as a parent, you worry about it
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
But
You
when you
don't
get
think
later in
about it.
life, you really worry about it. And every year there are tragedies, right? Where
Yeah.
um, people, a parent will pass away, a caregiver will pass away, and there isn't a plan. And
Right.
those are in my mind, the most tragic,
Yeah.
where somebody has gone through life, has not been supported to plan for or understand what the future looks like, where a person might be living, who's going to be their support group around them, that's not family. And I just think Ontario can do better, and
Yeah.
other jurisdictions can do better around making life a little less stressful, being a little more sure about the future. Like, again, when we all know at some point we pay into the CPP, Canada Pension
Yeah.
Plan. We know at some point we're going to collect that.
Right.
I wish we could have a similar kind of reassurance or assurance that, if I've supported my son or daughter and they've done well and they've lived with me, that at some point I know what their future is going to look like.
Yes.
Uh, so I agree, and I do spend a lot of time thinking about that, worrying about that.
Right, but it's amazing how community living has grown from its beginnings in
Yes. Yeah.
1948,
Yeah.
when I think Victoria Glover pointed it out in was it the
Yeah.
Star,
Yep.
and wrote that letter that then brought a meeting of mothers in
Yeah.
a united church,
Yep.
and then it was just we're doing is asking for a support system and education. and
Yeah.
then and then when did they start beginning, because it really was a day programs and a
Yep.
support system, and then it started in the 80s with homes, or was it
Yeah,
before?
yeah, and then what we're evolving to now, and something similar to what Richie's circumstance is, but different, was group homes was a big thing for a long time, and
Right.
that that could have been 6 or 8 people living together. Over time, group homes got generally smaller, so there's 4 or 5 people, but a
Well,
lot of times
Richie already
people,
has two, and
yeah,
then
right. So yeah,
great.
so that's continued to evolve, right? Because one of the issues around challenges of living in a group home is you don't always get to choose your roommate.
No.
You're in a lot of shared spaces, and that works for some people, but not for others. So there's an evolution more around, people living in smaller groups with supports. I think that will continue to evolve, and organizations like ours are looking forward and happy to make sure that happens.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
So
I know. Yeah, go ahead.
just
Sorry.
keeping my eye on the clock. I know we could talk for
Oh
for
gosh,
a long
this is
time, but
just wonderful.
yeah, no, I agree. But I don't want to. So you had mentioned earlier about this opportunity you got to be on Canada's Got
Talent.
Talent, and tell us about that. It's quite the story.
Well, yeah, I guess there I was talked into it to
Okay.
be on Canada's Got Talent. And at first I was like, oh, I don't know, because I don't consider myself a singer. Anyway, and some friends, oh, Val, you've got to do it, because I was approaching people about doing a
Right.
benefit performance and getting friends. And they said, Val, you should do Canada's Got Talent. Anyway, I then went up and did the audition and was able to get 50. I was shocked. I guess CIBC saw my audition
Hmm.
and donated $50,000
They
to
did.
community
They
living,
did.
because I had said to them, to the Canada's Got Talent, who were very kind to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
It did not work out. I could go on because I was working. I fell and twisted my ankle. There were things,
You didn't win the
but
million.
I didn't win the million. I wasn't able to go on. Unfortunately, not that they not that they weren't kind. They did
They
put
were,
me
yeah,
through,
yeah,
and uh, but they still gave me
yeah, yeah,
gave community living. And I had said to them, if you're going to write a check, don't write it to me,
yeah.
write it to community living. And I guess
So
when CIBC saw that, they went, well, we'll give
yes,
her
yes,
$50,000.
that was
I
very,
would give
and
them. And so, oh my gosh, I literally, when I heard that, I fell to the
yeah,
ground crying. It was
that
like,
was.
oh my God.
So we took that money and used it in Richie's apartment and some other
Yes.
people in that same building, and we added some laundry machines, did some
Oh,
renovations, did a dishwasher, some other stuff
yeah.
that you had been asked. So it was we used that money right away. We also used
I'm
some of it to
thank
help
you.
with some of our self-advocacy group with our influencers around some of the stuff that they're doing around advocating for people with
Thank you.
disabilities. So well done, well done.
I
The
am
now I
so
don't
thank you,
we skipped.
CIBC.
Yeah, for
Go.
sure, absolutely. They've been a great supporter. We skipped past your performance though. So you got up on stage, you brought, and it was held somewhere down in Niagara Falls or whatever.
Yes, it
You
was.
went,
It
and
was
Richie
50.
went. Yeah,
Richie went, Rowan went, Yvonne, one of
Yvonne's
his,
one of the staff
and
that knows Richie
and
well.
yeah, and another care worker, a lovely care worker too.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, I'm I've got an aging brain, great memory but short.
we both do.
Um,
Yeah.
But yeah, and they came and it was so exciting. And Howie Mandel hugged
So it was
Richie,
Hallie Mandel, Shania
Shania
Twain,
Twain.
and I forget the third person.
It's four people, and they.
Four.
Oh,
Anyway.
I'm going to be embarrassed. I should have look up their names because they're lovely, lovely, lovely people.
Yes. So
But
so
and
you got
they're
up. You now
stars
you
in their own
sang
right.
the song you chose to sing was which?
Send in the clowns.
And why did you
They
choose that? Why did you choose that number?
well, actually, they kind of choose it for you.
Okay, there's the secret of show business, eh?
The secret of show business. And what happens, so they ask you to audition uh, several numbers.
Okay, okay.
And there are now, so they need several numbers because not necessarily are they going to be able to get the rights, the television rights,
Right,
to
I
do
see.
one
Okay, I never
number.
think of that stuff. Right, right, right.
No, and so they say, so okay, we got the, so I did, I think, five or six numbers,
Okay,
and
okay.
so and finally they go. So if you write your own song,
That's fine. Yeah.
that's
So
fine.
so you did that performance, and
I did.
then at the end, and you introduced. Actually, it was quite nice. They introduced Richie, and I think Yvonne was
Oh, yes,
there, and that one you sang, and then at the end of it, everybody voted you in, or
voted
I
us.
guess
I
nobody.
got four votes, and I got standing ovation, and
Yeah, it was really. I'm not an overly emotional guy most of the time, but it was really emotional watching you. And then at the end of that, Shania Twain made the speech took my breath away around, how much of an inspiration she found you and
oh,
Richie, and like she went on for a while. I don't
she,
watch that show a lot, but that was seemed to be not typical that they would do
yes,
that. So it was
she
very
was.
nice.
They were lovely. They were so. Oh my gosh, they were so like they treated me from the day like a queen.
Yeah, yeah.
They are so good to everybody, I think.
Yes,
And
excellent. Good to
so
know. What an
uh,
opportunity.
it was an
So
opportunity, and for Richie, um, like now when he sees I've been taking him to church with me to
right.
the Humber Valley United Church with me,
Okay.
and he will sit and watch me
Nice.
sing. He loves it. He
Great.
just so yeah, it was a
Great.
fantastic experience. I
Great.
had so and I'm
Fantastic.
so grateful that they and people because the thing went a bit viral,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
it went on
for sure.
YouTube,
It was,
and so
yeah.
it can be seen on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. No,
Um,
I'd encourage people to Google it and
Maybe
take a
we
look.
could link it from
I'm sure
here and
we,
say,
I never know what technology we can do,
I
but
we
I'm sure we
oh,
can figure that out in our notes for sure.
I'm technologically like an infant. I'm a baby,
Yes.
but yeah.
So
So
let's wrap up. Let's wrap up.
okay.
This has been great. Where, in terms of your professional career, where are you performing next? Where could people go see you if you're
Um,
in anything that's coming up?
um, I'm 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 actually, as I said, I'm doing a pilot for a series in October,
Yep.
and I know that I will be in Christmas movies, and next year I'm doing it over the river and into the woods,
Okay.
and there again. And I'm also, it looks like I'm going to be doing another play,
Okay.
Doris and Ivy, which your wife came and
Yeah.
saw,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm also being asked to sing and perform,
Great.
and I am still thinking very very much about getting together for 2026 a benefit to
Okay.
raise funds and put some stars and find
That'd be
like
fun.
maybe Gruner Hall or somewhere that we put on a benefit. Now, Humber Valley United Church,
Hmm.
the pastor there, a lovely pastor named Kate Brown,
Yep.
she has said, Val, we're going to put on a benefit
Oh, wow.
for um, for community
Oh
living.
well,
That is,
we'll have to talk to her about
I,
that
I,
more. So lots of chances to see you on the small screen and on the stage coming up.
right.
We'll keep an eye out for more.
Oh,
Val, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Brad, this has been
Uh,
lovely. What a delight to talk. You're so
yes,
easy to talk to.
as are
You are a
you, as are you.
wonderful interviewer.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Good to chat. We'll
It's
take care
good
and we'll
to
chat
chat.
soon.
Thank you, sweetheart. Bye
Okay.
for now. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Thank you for listening, watching, and sharing. We release a new episode of Community Chats on the 15th and 30th of each month, so don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date.